Another crucial weapon, which had a revolutionary effect on warfare, was the submarine. Armed with the torpedo, an invention which had already frightened naval commanders the world over, the submarine soon proved that it could threaten any battle fleet. But it was not the threat to battle fleets which was to prove critical. The German U-boats soon showed that they had the potential to win the war by cutting Britain's vital trade links. Only the danger that indiscriminate sinking of neutral ships might bring the United States into the war held the Kaiser back from launching an all-out attack until 1917. For much of the war, the Germans found it easy to prey on merchant shipping, because most ships sailed alone and unescorted. U-boats didn't even have to use valuable torpedoes to destroy their prey. The British eventually introduced convoys and developed methods of locating submerged U-boats using sound detectors towed behind warships. This was backed up with depth charges launched from fast-moving escorts. But the U-boat threat continued, and the British Admiralty decided that the only way of stopping the Wasps must be to block up the Wasp's nest. By 1917, the main U-boat base was at Bruges, in occupied Belgium. 8 miles from the sea, but connected to the ports of Ostend and Zeebrugge by canals. It was too far from the sea for there to be any chance of a landing to capture it. The U-boats were housed in concrete shelters, which provided excellent protection against naval or air bombardment. So British Admiral Roger Keyes, commander of the Dover Patrol, decided that the best way to stop them was to block the points where the canals went out into the sea. Both the ports were heavily protected with artillery and troops, and the entrance at Zeebrugge was also guarded by a mile-long mole. This was heavily fortified with a 20-foot-high wall on the seaward side and would need to be seized before block ships could reach the harbour mouth. Keyes decided that this could be achieved by berthing a shallow draft ship alongside it, carrying a landing party of elite troops, 700 men of the Royal Marines. He selected the cruiser HMS Vindictive for the task, and she was fitted with extra armour and guns. A new upper deck was built with 18 landing ramps, which would be lowered on top of the sea wall. The volunteer naval crew practiced raising and lowering these. mole had arches halfway, and it was planned to blow these using an obsolete explosive-packed submarine so that reinforcements could not get along it. What the attackers did not know was that a German destroyer had moored on the inside of the mole the previous night, more or less exactly alongside where the Vindictive was aiming to land. Admiral Keyes, aboard the destroyer HMS Warwick, led the task force out of Dover Harbour on the evening of the 22nd of April. The weather for the crossing was calm. For the previous week, monitors, with their massive 15-inch guns, had been bombarding the German coastal guns and strongpoints. Night fell, and German searchlights probed the darkness as the town behind them was lit up by the British shelling. Then, at 23:30 hours, coastal patrol boats surged in and released their smoke floats. The wind was blowing from the northwest, wafting the smoke directly towards the mole and the port. Realizing that something was going on, the Germans opened a furious fire, but their view was increasingly obscured by the smokescreen from the criss-crossing small boats. Behind the protective cover of smoke, HMS Vindictive, with 2 escorts, also packed with troops, should she be sunk, moved into position. The cruiser's captain ordered full speed ahead. And the 3 assault ships raced into the smokescreen. On the mole, German sailors strained to see their enemy. Then, with only 250 yards to go, the 3 British ships emerged, and the Germans opened a withering fire. In the few moments that it took to reach the mole, the 2 most senior Royal Marines and 2 naval officers were killed. The German destroyer had also joined in the firing, and a heavy swell was making it hard for Vindictive to get close to the mole.